Dr. Ananta Singh Raghuvanshi is a distinguished leader in the real estate sector. She is presently the president and founder of NEDCO Mahi. In addition to her role, she is the mission director for Nirmal Jal Prayas. She is also a part of the advisory boards of institutions such as Amity RICS, SB and Nikma University in Pune. Dr. Raghuvanshi's impressive academic background includes a doctorate in management. RICS, member of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, accreditation from the United Kingdom. She is a visionary real estate leader, a TEDx speaker and a relentless advocate for gender integration, innovation, and sustainable development. With over 3 decades of dedicated service, she embodies exemplary leadership and consistently delivers exceptional results. CA Dr. Vijay Kumar Chaudhary, Executive Director, Finance, NBCC. CA Dr. Vijay Kumar Chaudhary is currently serving as the Executive Director, Finance, at NBCC, India, Limited. He has dedicated 16 years to NHPC Limited. During his tenure he held various roles, including serving in the office of CMD and as Director, Finance. His notable achievements include managing the prestigious Bharat Mandapam at the G20 Summit 2023 as the project finance head. He played a key role in implementing GST across India in the construction and infrastructure sector as part of a MOHUA committee, achieving seamless implementation at NBCC, India, Limited. Additionally, he was instrumental in the acquisition of JP Infra Limited under the IBC code and has a successful track record as the head of merger acquisition, leading to the acquisition of HSCL and HSCC, showcasing his strategic prowess in the corporate sector. Mr. Atul Bansal, Director Finance Omax Limited. Mr. Atul Bansal is a chartered accountant with over 26 years of experience, including the last 16 years as the head of finance for leading real estate companies. He currently holds the position of Director Finance at Omax Limited, a prominent listed real estate group with a vast portfolio encompassing over a presence in 28 cities across India. He is also a governing council member of BRICS CCI and leads the real estate CFO group. His extensive expertise spans various aspects of real estate, derivatives, international structures, M&A, equity and debt raising, and substantial collaboration with major financial institutions and banks. Mr. Manish Arora, CEO, Carrot Solutions LLP. Mr. Manish Arora holds an experience of over 25 plus years. He has a diverse background in finance and marketing within the manufacturing and financial services sectors. He has a track record of successfully establishing SME businesses and franchises. In his last position at DBS Bank, he served as the country head for assets business. He is an expert on various aspects of SME financing, including business strategy, business development, risk management, product policies, processes, platform development, alliances, partnerships, channel management, and HR consulting.
Good evening, friends. I am K.K. Gupta, your host. I am a director of Association for Financial Advisor of India and also Resurgent India. Today, topic is very important regarding expectations from the budget of real estate for real estate. I extend our heartiest welcome to the eminent speaker, Dr. Raghuvanshi, Dr. Chaudhary, Mr. Atul Bansal, Mr. Manish Arora, and all our participants. So this webinar of the association is of 33 webinar under this series. And for the research in India, we have already completed 209 webinars in different fields. So we have, on the request of our members, we have chosen the subject, expectation from the budget. So we call all the eminent speakers in the subject. Their profile already narrated to you. So first of all, what is a real estate? What is the role of real estate? How they are playing it? And we are considering the real estate as a growth engine in the Indian economy. It is our second largest employment generating sector after agriculture, growing at the rate of 20% per annum and contributing 5 to 6% of GDP. The growth of the sector, fueled by the growth of infrastructure development, favorable government policies, and emergence of new investment opportunities. From the current portions, 7% of the real estate sector is expected to contribute 10 to 13% of India's GDP by 2025. Further, the industry is expected to grow throughout the decade and surpass $1 trillion in the market value by 2030. When we are talking about the fiscal deficit, which was estimated 5.9% of GDP in 24, from April to November, it is back to 45%. And it is estimated that the fiscal deficit for 2025 will be around 5.3%. And the following year, it can be gone down to 4.5%. That's the Indian economy. To achieve a 5 trillion economy, I think this sector can play a very important role. So I'm coming to expectation by all eminent speakers. They will touch what is the expectation by the real estate. Although this budget will be interim budget, and full-fledged budget will only come in July, when the government will take over, new government will take over. Lekin some points which we are mentioning here is redefining the affordable housing scheme, GST input tax credit, interest on housing loan, incentive credit linked subsidy, industry status, because it is demand from the real estate. The real estate should be classified as an industry, so it can get the benefit of the industrial atmospheres. Then emerging technology in real estate, balancing initial high cost and skill gap, tax exemption, and on rental income. This is also major aspect which when I'm talking to some real estate people, they are also asking some taxation should be, rebate can be given for the rental income also. Differential tax treatment for the project based on the sustainability and environment projects. I think these are the major aspects. We're going to talk to detail with our eminent speaker who is expert in the fields. So at the outset, I invite Shri Atul Bansal, who is a chartered accountant, over 26 years of experience, including the last 16 years as head finance of leading real estate companies. Mr. Bansal, just I want to know from you, what are the key demands? Because you are in the helm affair of the real estate, what are the key demands of the real estate stakeholders? What they are expecting from the budget? I think this is a major aspect. First, we know what are the expectations are there. Then we'll talk in a different other subject also. Now I hand over to Mr. Bansal. Please give your thoughts. What are the expectations? What are the demand of the real estate? Please, Mr. Bansal.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. I think before we get into the demand, I just want to take 1 minute of this forum to understand about why real estate is so important for India or Indian economy or for budget, and how it is going to help the entire country. See, we have to understand that real estate is just not one industry. It has more than 250 affiliate industries which contribute to nation in one from other, which are dependent on real estate as a main vertical. Real estate is I think, second largest employment generator in India. They contribute around 18% of total employment of India. So, and in numerous ways, in terms of, I'll say, contribution to GDP, contribution to the infrastructure, contribution to overall economy, in terms of revenue, in terms of growth. So real estate has a big has been always a big contributor for nation and nation builder. So it is important for to continue supporting this industry, to keep supporting and keep providing assistance to this industry is very important. That is why it is important now. The budget, annual budget, though it's an interim budget, but still, since it will have impact on the workings of real estate, it's important that there are few things which have been taken care in this budget. So, and honestly, with your support, Mr. Gupta, in this forum, if we can have some of these things implemented in a budget, it is going to help the real estate industry in a big way. I think one of the biggest demand that the real estate industry right now from the budget is definitely rationalizing on GST, which I think Mr. Chaudhary will definitely touch upon. I just have a small request that, earlier when the GST started, it was supposed to be a non duplicacy. It was supposed to provide you a platform where tax is levied at one point. Industry always pay taxes on the input services that we're claiming, but on residential output services has been stopped. So that's something which is getting into double taxation. In fact, it is getting burden on the customers also. We levy 5% over and above the overall cost, which is I'll say increasing tax in a big way and ultimately hardening the hardship to all the customers, also the general public. So that is one part which we as industry, we always have a request to allow input rate and rationalize the rate. Second, I think with the government's housing for all scheme, so it is in their interest that as much as affordable housings or smaller houses are built, it is going to help all the needy and the requirement of central government can be fulfilled on the same lines. So earlier there used to be a section of something like 80IB or some any such schemes where they were used to promote affordable housing up to a certain sizes where they were getting tax exemptions. It was getting a big push. A lot of affordable housing has come in past, which now we see that more bigger houses are getting built. So somewhere those kind of schemes will definitely help build more affordable houses. Thirdly, see, we all have to understand that our tier 1 cities are getting choked up like anything. Or you see all the big cities, they have big influx of people coming from all over India. So we have to increase, or we have to encourage people to create infrastructure, create housing in smaller cities. For that, there is no scheme, there is no kind of a push from the government side. So if you can get some kind of infrastructure support, some kind of, I'll say, waiver on EDC, IDC, or any kind of on license fees, or any kind of extra FSI or something, it will help a lot of developers to come forward, set up their projects in smaller cities, and which definitely will help overall, creating housing in these areas. Next, we see that interest rates are has continuously increased in last 2 years, which has created some kind of dent in demand, particularly for middle income societies. So if we can have little rational on interest rates for at least for retail housing projects, so that will definitely help a lot in people buying more houses. They put more money in their pocket to afford houses. So that's something which definitely going to help in a big way. See, if you see previous union budgets, including the last year budget, it has a big push on investments on various infrastructure related to real estate related infrastructures like 5G labs, agriculture tech, AR infrastructures. So those things we again expect that this budget will continue. They'll continue contributing on creating these kind of infrastructures. Ultimately, these all need big real estate kind of infrastructure. So which definitely will help the industry in a big way. Apart from that, we expect that a very long demand of industry. It's been, I think, almost 5 years with every budget seminar, every pre-budget these forums I've seen, is that there is a 2 lakh rupees of deductions on interest, which is continuing for a long time, and we reached to a situation where 2 lakh interest is hardly any amount for any individual. So if you can increase that to 5 lakh rupees, so that is going to create a big positive mindset in the mind of customers, and ultimately it will help the industry. So the demand is endless. We can go and continue with so many things. But then if even if meet few of them, it definitely can go and help industry in a big way.
Thank you, Mr. Bansal. I think you have covered very nicely about the GST affordable housing scheme, redefining that. Infrastructure, interest rate, you also mentioned.
Yes, sir.
The major aspect is the financing. To raise the financing for the real estate, I think some difficulty are being envisaged. So bankers are somewhat reluctant to give finance to real estate, something like that. Have any view on that, Mr. Bansal?
See, actually, the biggest problem is right now, I'll say perception about the real estate. That real estate is a bit as RBI treats them more as a speculative activity. So if any bank today provides a fund to real estate, so then they have to make a provisioning which is above the normal than they provide to any other industry. So which discourages them to support real estate, because if they suppose they lend 100 rupees to real estate, so their provision will be much more higher than if they lend to a manufacturing industry or any other industry. So a lot of these banks, they don't want to lend to real estate. They prefer lending to other industries. Whereas if you see the real estate projects lending, it's much more secure than any other. Here you are in lending against a product which is real, which is like a land is there, building is there. So at least your recovery from those projects are much higher than any industry. Your machinery deteriorates over a period of 2 years time, 3 years time, but real estate land prices increases only. It never depreciates on a medium term to long term. So that definitely has lot of impact. If you see abroad, if you go to anywhere, go to China, go to any of these cities which try to push infrastructure or development in the country, there they give lot of leeway, or I'll say push for any project which is real estate related. But India generally they discourage. I think every policy every time discourages banks to give land to money to developers. Everywhere, even to buy land, you get funding from banks. In India, if you're buying land, you cannot get funding from banks. So then what happens? What options real estate players have? They go from bank, they go to NBFCs, private equity funds, VC capitals, and these are all costly. So ultimately, it is have a cascading effect. You buy land at higher rates, you take fund on a higher rates. Ultimately, your cost is higher, so you sell higher, and the who buys? Ultimately, public who buys. So they're buying at property at a higher rate just because easier capitals are not available to developers. So I'm saying you put checks and balances, which is absolutely fine, which is required also. You should always have some kind of checks and balances, but at least provide those kind of easy liquidity to developers so that they can, they can buy land, they can develop their projects on time, put all kind of restrictions. I'm saying I'm pro government for this. RERA they bought, which is very good step. They should have bought it much earlier, and it's a very welcome step. So at least they're controlling the usage of fund. At least provide them now the proper liquidity and fund so that they can acquire more projects, they can more, and ultimately the government aim also. Government wants to, the PM has the vision of making housing for all. So that housing for all, government alone cannot build the houses. You need developers to build those houses. So you give us those support infrastructure and those kind of subsidies, and I don't think none of the developers will back out from there. They will develop the houses on time and as per the requirement of the government.
I agree, Mr. Bansal, what you're talking about. The bank is not providing loan against the land, and they have to go to NBFC or some other private institutions for a higher rate of interest. I think this is also a major aspect. Further, the banker have to keep a capital adequacy in respect of a real estate
Yes,
is more than 150. When you're
correct.
talking about a manufacturing or other real estate, it is
Absolutely.
much less. So if the real estate industry can be given a industrial status, I think this problem can be solved. This is one of the suggestions which we can give to the government. Let the real estate industry should be taken as a status of the industry. I think that is a
Yeah,
major
because
aspect for that.
very rightly, Mr. Gupta. Very
So
rightly
if
said.
it can
Industry
be,
status is going to give a
so
big support to the
In
industry.
respect of the affordable housing also, if he can be classified by the banker, even they are still not classifying somebody as a priority sector lending. If that can be also be done, so I think some problem can be solved. So, Mr.
I just
Bansal,
add, sorry, sir, just sorry, I'm just adding one more point, Mr. Gupta. You said, you very correctly said,
tell
industry
me,
status will also give one more thing.
sir.
Is that, it will, because currently FDI norms are not supporting real estate industry. So if you want to have a cheaper capital from a lot of countries are ready to now support India, because India has India shining is a big factor everywhere in the world. So if the FDI industry status is given, then these FDI norms will also be relaxed in case of industry, and then raising capital, cheaper capital from abroad will be easier. So you are bringing FDI money in India, your balance of payment will increase, your everything. So
Agreed.
I think very good
Bansal, you
suggestions.
are a very important point. If they
Yeah,
can
very important.
the inflow of the foreign funds can also be, you can say, you can take it at a low rate of interest, and the inflow of the capital can also be there. I think this is
Absolutely,
an important
absolutely, I
aspect.
agree.
So I will come back to Mr. Bansal. I will coming to Shri Munish Arora, who is CEO, Correct Solutions LLP. Munish Arora holds an experience of 25 plus years. He has a diverse background in finance and marketing within the manufacturing and financial sector. He has a track record of successful establishing SME business and franchise. The last position was DSP Bank. Mr. Manoj Arora sir, that I am talking about the affordable housing, because affordable housing is playing very important role to provide the housing to the people who are not having any house, which are the dream of the our honorable Prime Minister. So, what is expectation from the budget to boost the affordable housing segment as the construction cost and the land costs are increasing, because they're pegged of 45 lakhs rupees price. Have any suggestion from the budget to what you are expecting from Mr. Arora?
Thanks, Mr. Gupta. Thanks for having this very important, subject which you have picked up. We all, end up, buying some real estate asset, in our lifespan, and everyone deserves, one at least, a roof, right? So, and that's why Government of India has come up with this affordable housing, as a sector, and it's being promoted very well. I think it's, while we can always discuss challenges, but I think there's a fair bit of good work happening in this sector, and we always keep demanding more, dil mange more. So that's always a challenge which I think every ministry or every government body wants to work along with the sector. And good thing is that they are listening, and that's why such seminars which are being conducted somewhere we hope that it will reach to the right people, right? And with this hope, I also want to start my discussions over here. So I think you mentioned 45 lakh rupees is the cap, right? That itself is a big challenge, right? So if you want to give a decent house to anyone, and especially in the satellite towns of large cities like Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore or Chennai, and you end up, taking just 400 square feet of, place. Okay, Mumbai folks might, still digest that, but other locations, if somebody has come all the way from different parts of the country like UP, Bihar, Odisha, and their own houses in villages are bigger than 400 square feet, right? So I think a basic ask is, first of all, this capping of either in terms of rupee or in terms of square feet needs a review for sure. 45 lakh is too less, and it should be looked at, make it at least 75 lakh rupees, or basic the tiering of the town, right? The population basically determines the tiering of the town. So metro, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 towns. So I think tier wise there should be a capping rather than making it flat across the length and breadth of the country. That is one expectation. Of course, square feet is one expectation. The other thing which you touched upon is the construction, and land challenges which we face in the country, right? So we are talking about ease of doing business across all the sectors, and we are bringing so much of subsidies, so much of, PLI scheme is being worked out. So what is that is on the table for this industry? I think very rightly, Mr. Atul Bansal has pointed out that there are allied industries attached to real estate, right? We all know cement, steel as one, two thing comes to our mind, but there are so many other allied industries which work in tandem with the real estate sector. I think we are not talking about how the land acquisition can be faster, how the development can happen faster. There are so many departments, verticals. In each department, there are so many sub departments which any developer has to work along to get any project approved, right? And to taking to that level of RERA approved project is like a mission accomplished, right? For any small builder for sure. Maybe for large builders, marquee names, they have got access to the machinery of government, and we know how it happens, right? The corruption which is there in the country is quite dominant in this industry, which is the peril of most of the challenges which other industries used to face. But I think other industries still there is a progress. But in real estate, I believe we have just started crawling right now. Actually, the corruption is so rampant. So much of land mafia, politicians and nexus with the bureaucrats. I think that is something which is kind of not allowing any professional to come in this industry, step in this industry. So while we are demanding industry status, but the barrier to enter in this industry is so much. How a regular professional can come in this sector? Have you seen any startup of IIM Bangalore or IMC incubator teaching how to get into real estate? No, they are teaching technology, they are teaching AI, ML and everything, but the real estate, I think it is unreal for them. I think that's what I want to begin with.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roda. I think you have touched the right points. Because unless if a startup never enter into real estate, I've never seen, because I'm processing so many proposals these days. Like a startup will never think to come into real estate. I think this is also a major issue. Then we are talking about affordable housing, all being challenges are there because in the land, if you want to purchase, you have to purchase from your own resources, as we have also mentioned with Mr. Atul. That is also a main challenge to arrange for a capital for affordable housing by the builder. So have any view on that? What is your suggestion so that the affordable housing can be available to a common man at a reasonable cost, and also the finance can be available with the builder also? Have any thought in process, Mr. Barrow?
So, Mr. Gupta, as you know, in all the industries, there is a facility of, cash credit facility, overdraft facilities, invoice financing. So many methods are there, to develop that industry, right? But in real estate sector, we don't have, those options. I right now I'm working with almost 50 plus banks. All of them have got very clearly in their policies mentioned that they will finance every invoice of every industry, but only one sector which is dominantly in their up top of the mind is real estate. Sorry, invoice financing in real estate sector, no. Gems and jewelry, no, right? Coal and other commodities, no. So if you are keeping that kind of mindset to begin with, even short term 10 or 3 month financing, they have an issue. So talking about cash credit, which is a 12-month renewal facility, I think is a long ask. I'm saying just start with that. You have a builder who has got taken funding from L&T, the SDFCs of the world, Aditya Birlas of the world. They have a escrow account. They can control the outflow of the funds from the builder. Why don't invoice financing can be done, and on the due date, why can't the money can't be recovered from the escrow account? Which these all the large FIs or financial institutions are having a complete control of, right? Project financing is controlled through that escrow account. The money's inflow is controlled. If everything is controlled so watertight, then why not such facilities be made available? In fact, no other industry has got so much of control, like real estate has got a control, by the finances. In other cases, even a small businessman can take a unsecured business loan of 15 lakh, 20 lakh, 50 lakh easily. No issues. But once it comes to real estate, a small invoice of 1 lakh rupees you can't finance right now. So I think this industry is completely ignored, if you ask me, from that perspective, just because there are anyone who has got a big pocket, has access to political and bureaucratic machinery. They get into this industry. They have adequate funds, and that's why this industry goes on. But a normal businessman, if he has to come into this and start developing affordable home, because they can easily do it. Otherwise, affordable housing, because the ticket size is so low, even a small businessman, can develop 10 lakh crore, 20 lakh crore project easily. But since the barrier of entry, and the ease of doing business and ease of financing is not there, they face that, they're bang against the wall, right? So we need some reforms which are which I believe that majority government third time, which is likely to BJP to come in. So hope that they get this industry out of the clutches of few, and make it clean, and transparent and high on governance, right? That is what is, I think, will help, because any financier, if they have to fund anything, they want huge corporate governance, methods to be there. The board has to be, very much, there. I have seen, one bank, big bank failed because of the reason, and SBI has to take over that bank. Why? Because there was a nexus between, even a corporate executives of banker and that particular, right, real estate folks. So and there's so many instances that happened. I am talking about the recent incident, but so many banks have failed because of, the exposure to real estate, and primarily the core of everything is corruption. So I think cleanup is required over here.
Very nicely, I think this invoice financing, what you, Mr. Roda, you mentioned, is a more important aspect. Lekin for a cascade limits, I feel that some banks are providing a cascade limits against the inventory. That is also in a real estate they are providing, and we're talking about the unsecured loan also. I think this can be materialized if we want to have an industrial status. Definitely, such thing can be happened. Even invoicing financing can also be available. I think this is a good suggestion given by you. So I will come back to Mr. Arora. I am coming to Dr. Raghuvanshi. Dr. Raghuvanshi is a distinguished leader in the real estate sector. She is presently the president and founder of Nerdco Mahi. In addition to her role, she is a mission director of Nirmal Jal Prayas. She is also part of the advisory board of institutions such as MAT. So she is a great lady and expert in the field of real estate. I'm just asking, madam, what is expectation of real estate to incentivize and promote sustainable development? Now, sustainable development is order of the day. Everybody talking about this sustainable development. And you are also expert for this sustainable development. What is your feeling in that? What is expectation of real estate? I hand over to madam. Please, Raghuvanshi.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you for inviting me on this panel. A very good afternoon to our entire audience. And my greetings for the 75th Republic Day celebrations as well. I think, sir, whether it is sustainable development or ESG, now these are just not boardroom discussions, or SDG as well. They are actually being implemented by all the top developers. Nerdco, in fact, is a forum of 11,000 builders and developers across the country. And in the top 7 cities, wherever developments are happening, every little care is being taken to make it sustainable, whether it is sewage treatment plants or water recycling being done, or choosing plants which require less water, as well as harnessing solar power and other things to reduce the energy consumption loads. So those things are happening. Now, if we really want our country to go ahead and leave behind a better world for the next generation and the generation after that, then the incentivization is needed, sir, for sure, because sustainable development is not something which only builders can drive. there is a human aspect to it, there's a culture aspect to it, there's an economic aspect to it, and there's an environment aspect to it. So when you want to incentivize sustainability, it has to be done across levels. As a culture, our country has it in their DNA, reuse, recycle, हमारे हर एक के घर में होता है. So that is there in our culture. But at a larger scale, every drop of water matters. Just to give a simple example, we have 18% of the world's population, but we have only 3 to 4% of fresh water reserves. That means we are all drinking potty recycled water. How long will this continue? And what will happen with the next generation? Therefore, a lot of us are living in plotted developments. We are living in low-rise housing. Everywhere, that consciousness has to come into the system. And for that, it's very important that the incentivization happens. So whether it is solar, wind, hydro, biomass power, utilizing it to reduce the energy consumption. A big push is needed. If it is a shift from driving whatever amazing vehicles we all are driving and suddenly shift to EV vehicles, a huge push is needed even there. Cannot be small bits and pieces or token here and there. A whole paradigm shift has to happen, sir. And then, as far as our architects are concerned, they are trying to create those environment-friendly designs. They are trying to use environment-friendly materials. But right at the sourcing stage itself, if incentivization happens, whether it is tax rebates or whether it is encouragement for usage, all of that would have huge, huge impact. There is huge wastage which happens with packaging. We have to encourage recycling in some manner. I don't know how it will happen practically on ground because, like I told you, it is environment, social, and governance. All three wheels have to move together to actually give a very clear and a very beautiful picture to this problem. It is a huge problem. There is so much of malba created every year when people decide to renovate their houses. Where does that go? Cleaning of the water bodies. How is that happening? There are a few names. There is one Anand Maligawad, busy cleaning Bangalore. There is one Ramveer Tanwar, busy cleaning Greater Noida and UP. But it has to happen in a very huge way where all the elements who can make an impact and make that difference come together, sir. So definitely you are right. Incentivization for sustainable practices is needed. But the challenge is very humongous unless it is attacked at every level, which at this time is not happening. However, for the builder community, I will speak for them because I know we are putting aerators in taps. It costs only 45 rupees, but 30 to 35% saving happens at source. आपको लगेगा पानी की धार कम क्यों आ रही है, लेकिन वो सोर्स पे ही जितनी आपको जरूरत है वो चल रही है. The tap will not keep running endlessly. One more thing I will say without creating any controversy or being misunderstood. You know, the minute we get meat off the menu also, a lot of saving happens as far as sustainability is concerned. So in our clubs and all, it is good. Have the meat dishes. Instead of 12, maybe you can have 6 options every day. But even those little baby steps have a huge impact, which is measurable at the end of the month. That's all I would like to say, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. I think you're talking about the Malwa or something like that. For the
Yes.
environment something.
Yes.
So now I feel that some new technology has come. I think China has
Yes.
developed some new technology where you can have a ready-made house. So
Absolutely, sir.
technology, how the builder will have a challenge for this technology which are coming in a big way from the China. So
Sir, yes, sir. There are so many expert architects and interior designers who know how to use everything that is wasted and create something out of it. You know, I mean, whether it is plastic waste or whether it is all sorts of waste can be utilized in a very beautiful and amazing manner. You're absolutely right about it, sir.
to have any view on the technology aspect, whether the real estate people should adopt a new technology because the artificial intelligence is coming in a big way. And
Yes, sir.
and how it will be going to affect our real estate also.
Yes, sir. So in fact, there is a startup incubator, which I'm also a part of, which is focusing completely on prop tech. Mr. Manish Arora raised very two important points. One is that नया builder बनने में नई generation डरती है. That point, of course, is true in a sense, because अगर आप देखें जितने भी top builders हैं, they are all first generation builders. If you look at Mr. Hiranandani, his parents were doctors. You look at Mr. Rajiv Singh, his father was in the army. So they are all first generation big. It needs a lot of persistence, resilience, and a certain personality type to be able to be so pushy and to be able to do it. Prop is something where, like he mentioned, that IIT, IIM वाले बहुत सारे ऐसे बच्चे हैं जिनके पास इतने amazing ideas हैं, and they are coming into this in a very big way. So the technology space, sir, is being captured by them. And there, in fact, real estate was lagging, whether it is big data or predictive analytics or artificial intelligence के algorithms जो थे, ये सारे prop tech companies बहुत अच्छे से utilize कर रहे हैं. And it is accelerating real estate developments also in a certain way, because it's an opportunity. And अभी ऑलरेडी काफी चीजें तो यूज ही हो रही हैं, मनीष जी भी यूज कर रहे होंगे, whether it is three-dimensional tours for their customers, or maybe IoT services, or all these things I think you must be using in your marketing and sales teams. Marketing में digital transformation सबसे पहले हो गया, लेकिन construction and design में it is happening. It's slow and steady, but definitely it is having a high impact, sir. And like you said, this industry, our real estate industry globally, is valued at 3.9 trillion USD. We are actually at a place where it's the starting of a new era for real estate now. बिकॉज बहुत ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो रहा है और मिलेनियल्स इसे ड्राइव करेंगे. आज की डेट में जो हमारा कस्टमर है, हम अपने कस्टमर को तो समझे. आवर कस्टमर डजंट वांट अ सेकंड हैंड हाउस. व्हाइल आवर बिल्डर, आई हैव द विश लिस्ट ऑफ द 11,000 बिल्डर्स हियर फ्रॉम द बजट. दे वांट बेनिफिट्स फॉर बाइंग अ थर्ड हाउस ऑल्सो. फर्स्ट होम, सेकेंड होम ठीक है, थर्ड होम परचेज में भी बेनिफिट्स होने चाहिए, तो उन्हें लगता है उनकी मार्केट एक्सपैंड होगी. बट आप ये सोचिए कि आपका कस्टमर क्या चाहता है. सबसे पहले यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड योर कस्टमर. योर कस्टमर इज मिलेनियल्स. दे वांट वेरी स्मार्ट होम्स. दे वांट वेरी इजी टू मेंटेन मटेरियल्स. दे डोंट वांट अ हाउस which is totally dependent on servants. They want a lot of different things. So the minute you will understand your customer preferences, that forecasting will also happen through technology only.
Very important, very
Now,
important. What are you talking about?
Lodhas has just launched these plots, 1250 square feet plots at 1.8 crores. Will your millennial buy it? आप और हम तो इमोशनल होके शायद खरीद लें, कुछ और बेच के वहां लगा दें, वानप्रस्थ आश्रम की तैयारी में. But what is our millennial looking for? So we should be listening to the noises coming from the market and giving them what they need, but what can last them a lifetime. Because वो जो कॉन्सेप्ट था हम लोगों का कि घर जो बनाया है हमने वो हमेशा के लिए बनाया है और कम से कम 5 generations ने उसमें रहना है, that has changed. Plus, children don't want to get stuck to a location. They are studying in some part of the world. They are working in some part of the world. They want to own in some other part of the world. And finally, they will settle in another part of the country. So many things are there, and all those have to be well thought of. But at the same time, if you ask me, my wish list from the budget, I think definitely a lot more needs to be done to get the women to come and buy. Manish ji is talking about more people turning into builders. I am talking about more women coming and buying from the builders.
Perfect, yeah.
So do something so dramatic, whether it is on interest rates or whether it is on savings. आपने जब demonetization किया था, उन्हीं के तो कबर्ड्स में से आए थे ना 2.5 लाख रुपए. तो अभी भी अगर आप कुछ ड्रामेटिक करेंगे तो आपकी 50% पॉपुलेशन आज भी, जब हम बात करते हैं gold also, when a woman goes and buys, she thinks ki acha theek hai, ye appreciate hota hai, isliye I'm buying it, though she's not going to sell it ever in her lifetime. She may not even give it to anybody in her lifetime. After she's gone, jo divide karna hai kar lenge. But the fact is that the way she thinks about gold, if she starts actually thinking about property in that manner, so for that ease of purchase, ease of renting, and SOPs on rental income, you make her Atmanirbhar that way. Everything will come out of every cupboard and every account and every FD.
Thank you, madam, very much.
You, sir.
You have narrated the women wire should also be there. And
Thank you.
purchasing the gold, other thing, and keeping the money in their boxes also. I think this is a very important aspect. And whatever suggested is third house, I think this is a good suggestion. If
Ji.
can be allowed third house, I think
Ji.
the marketing aspect can be increased for that.
जी, थर्ड हाउस रेंटल पे बेनिफिट्स अभी कम है, बहुत कम है.
Yes.
और कैपिटल गेन्स पे बेनिफिट्स भी आई थिंक बहुत कम है. That is another reason why transactions also don't happen that often in the market.
Okay.
हमारी भी चीजें पड़ी रह जाती हैं अल्टीमेटली. आप खुद एक्सपीरियंस किए होंगे, बिकॉज ओ इतना झंझट है. You know, I mean, you are all experts in finance, but
Madam, what you have told me, na, very, I think rightly, जो है ladies never sell their jewelry. They will
Yes.
purchase and they will keep it with them only. I think
जी.
it is one of the important aspect. Now I'm coming
जी.
to Dr. CA Dr. Vijay Kumar
जी.
Chaudhary. Sir. Mr. Chaudhary is currently serving as Executive Director Finance at NBCC. This is one of the important organizations limited. He had dedicated 16 years to NHPC Limited, his tenure and various other roles, including serving the office of CMD and Director of Finance. His notable achievements include the managing and prestige Bharat Mandapa of G20 Summit 2023. I think, Mr. Chaudhary, I think this is a great question for you because this is GST. Key expectation for reform in GST. I think this is order of the day when we are talking to any builder. I think this is the most important aspect whether input credit can be given to the builder and it can be materialized. I think your expert opinion for the GST, I think it will be very useful to our listener, our participant also. Mr. Chaudhary, please.
Thank you, Mr. Bansal. You are rightly said, if we give the input tax credit to the developers, definitely the price of the houses will be reduced and extra money will go in the hands of home buyers only.
Yes.
And definitely if the home buyers is having more money, they will buy their second house and then third house.
Very nice.
Definitely. And that will increase the economic activities. That will boost the employment. Highest, we can say second highest employment generation in the real estate sector. That will increase the production. If more money goes in the hands of home buyers, their purchasing power will increase. That will tend amount to increase in the production. Definitely, industry will be boosted up. For the reform in the GST, first I will say in the GST is the 18%. And as per GST Act, land value they consider is only 1/3 of the value, total value. But here you will appreciate that construction cost is around 2,000 to 4,000 only, depending upon quality of construction. And the balance amount is only the cost of land. If someone wants to buy a house in Delhi and that price 25,000 per square feet, means 21,000 rupees pertains to land portion only. But when you a developers construct a property, then only 1/3 portion of the 25,000 rupees per square feet is reduced in the total cost. So my suggestion is that builders should be given a option to consider the actual value of land instead of 1/3 value of the land. This will substantially decrease the GST cost. and the price of the house will substantially reduce if government considers in the top metro cities land consists around 70 to 90% cost of the land. In B type cities, it is around 40 to 70%. And in C type, it's around 30 to 50%. So government should give one option instead of giving one third value. They should consider this the actual land cost, but as per their municipal valuation. जो म्यूनिसिपल वैल्यूशन है उसी के ऊपर इसको कम करके और एक्चुअल जो कॉस्ट आ रही है कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉस्ट दे शुड चार्ज द लेवी दैट जीएसटी ओनली ऑन दैट पोर्शन. Second is they should allow in present GST regime. GST is 5% without any ITC. If they allow ITC, input tax credit, to the developers, they should keep 5% GST is okay. Then definitely the home buyers demand is this: GST should be reduced, and if GST is input tax credit is given to the developers, the pricing will be decreased. My third suggestion, third asking from the government, this is something technical. Section 54 of the GST Act is saying refund of inputs. But there is one thing missing: input services. Works contracts, the construction of a house is a input services, not inputs. That is the supply of services, not supply of goods. So the section 54 restricts only refund of inputs only, not input services. Here, if government allows GST 5% with input tax credit, generally all the materials, construction material is 18% GST leviable. Either it's maybe cement, steel, and bricks, everything is more or less, something is 12% and balance is 18%. So the developer doesn't get full, doesn't utilize the full input tax credit. So this should amend this section 54, and the word should be input the add the input services also, so that developer may get the input tax credit and get the refund as well. One thing. There is a GST on the advances. If I give a advance to a developer, he has to pay GST on that advances. Government of India has revised the amendment this GST on advances for goods, but they have forgotten to apply that exemption on the services. Works contract. This. So if government should amend that as well. Say GST on advances for supply of services, that should be exempted. Similarly, earlier there is an exemption on renting of the residential property to the registered person. Recently, government has levied taxes, and they have directed that if a person is registered in the GST, they have to pay GST on RCM, reverse charges mechanism. So that should also be, that exemption should continue. That exemption was earlier available. That should be continued. And some more things. Presently, cement is 28% GST. Many industry experts is expecting this GST should be 18% only. In a construction industry, in the real estate project, around 18 to 20% portion pertains to this cement, and 16% pertains to steel. So if the GST on the cement is reduced from 28 to 18, this will really impact a lot. Similarly, many on the granite or marble, there is some GST on 28%. In some tiles, this is 5 to 28%. Wherever the GST is 28%, it should be reduced, and it should be 18%. Maximum GST should be 18%. So this is also a demand from government, from many industry experts.
Very nice, Mr. Chaudhary. I think you have covered very nicely what type of expectation by the real estate regarding input tax, regarding the land valuations, regarding the refund or advance tax, some advances on GST they are paying, something like that. The major aspect is because whether you feel there should be a different tax structure in respect of the affordable housing or sustainable development, because these are the priority sector where the government is also interested to provide all the person to really housing. You feel that there should be a different structure, tax GST structure in respect of a different segment of the real estate, Mr. Chaudhary?
Gupta sir. Some duty drawback, just like in the custom, we see some duty drawback. The concept is there. So in the similar line, if GST is 5% on the real estate, then I don't think the government is going to reduce it and going to making it zero. But government can do. They can easily come with an notification and come with a duty drawback. If any developer comes with a project which is a which is GRA rating, which is having a GRA rating, which is having approved by lead, which is approved by IGBC, then they will get 2%, 3% duty drawback. So if they want, because GRA rating 3 and GRA rating 4 comes only when there is a some it will impact the environmental impact, good environmental impact. So GST should be government should come with some duty drawback type concept like in the custom, so that every developer motivated and develop the such sustainable and environmental projects.
Very good, very good. I think this is the news this you have suggested, duty drawback, just like a export or they are getting something. So it can be incentive to the real estate builders. I think Mr. Bansal, you are also chartered accountant and looking after the things. Have any view on the GST? Any view from just Mr. Chaudhary has suggested some suggestion given. Beside that, you have any view on that? GST?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, sir. We on GST side, there are a lot of, I'll say, small clarifications, notifications which come, and some are even without clarifications. A lot of notices issued by GST department for the industry, which is definitely hampering our working also, which is unnecessary putting burdens in terms of compliances, cases. Financially also it is a lot of burden on industry. There was a circular recently where they says keep the bank guarantees given by a parent company for subsidiary or subsidiary by parent companies for related entities. There you have to pay GST on kind of hypothecated bank guarantee commission, whereas those bank guarantees are I'll say kind of a compulsion for every developer to give, because a lot of these projects are come in a subsidiary or in land owning companies, and then the parent company is the main entity which has to give the a corporate guarantee, and which is mandated by the bank. None of the developers want to give a bank guarantee on that, and all these banks put a condition that you can't pay a bank guarantee commission to the related entity, and then you make it as a hypothecated charges and levy GST on it. So which is a completely kind of, I'll say, absurd situation where because we don't want to give a corporate guarantee of any of our company. It is a compulsion of a bank to secure themselves. You are securing your banks, which is again a banking entity which is part of a government system, and then you are saying that don't pay bank commission but pay GST on it. So that's something which is, there are a lot of things. Royalty, like a parent company will have a main brand registered in its name as per the regulations, as per the Copyright Act, as per the Trademark Act. You cannot have a brand registered in more than one name. It will always be one name, any brand, be it DLF or Omax or any other entity. It will be registered in one entity's name. And when you develop project, because of the regulations of Land Ceiling Act, You cannot have more than 30 acres, 20 acres land in one entity. You have to have multiple entities. So you develop the project in another entity, and then they say, okay, hypothetically estimate that there's a brand is given to another entity and charge royalty on it. Even if you don't charge, pay GST on it at least. So which is, but even if you're not charging any income, you are hypothetically, you are calculating and paying without understanding the trade. These are, and there's so many such provisions which, which has to be regulated, which has to become up. The government has to think from a perspective that, there is a charge of 12% and 5% on this. Apart from that, 18% to, I'll say, from up to 28%, what Mr. Chaudhary said, we are paying on our input. And then these hypothetical charges, which has no meaning, so those should be regulated. You levy one charge. That was the entire intention of GST, that everything, your goods and services tax, all will come at one platform, one kitty, and you have to pay one charges. So make one charges levied on my sales, on an output, and then you remove all other charges. Otherwise, it is unnecessarily creating so much of burden, so much of litigations. They're all going into litigations, everybody, because this is, and you get these notices on just on the on one day for last 5 years, for the last 3 years, which there was no clarity, there was no information as such from the government side, and one day one authority starts levying GST, and all over India, all other GST authorities picks up the same. So those things need to be corrected. There are many things which I can keep continuing, but I'm saying those things can be still corrected.
Thank you very much, Bansal Saab. I think you have clarified the position very clearly. So what type of government should think regarding the GST and other input tax, other things should be given to them. Now I'm coming to end. I am requesting a few words. Lastly, suggestion to my participant, because more than 200 people are there who are listening to you beside our YouTube and other electronic media for that. So I'm requesting Dr. Raghuvanshi, have one word. What do you want to suggest to our listeners? Raghuvanshi, madam. Anything you want to suggest to our...
Every day is the best day to buy property.
Oh, very nice. Good. And Dr. Vijay Chaudhary, sir, anything from your side? Dr. Vijay Chaudhary, unmute कीजिए, sir.
एक तो घर खरीदे, और सरकार से रिक्वेस्ट है कि जो अपना इनकम टैक्स की डिडक्शन 2 लाख रुपए, उसको 5 लाख या 10 लाख रुपए कर दे, जिससे डेफिनेटली पीपल विल गो एंड बाय द न्यू हाउसेस.
Very nice. Mr. Atul Bansal, anything?
Sir, I'll say that real estate industry needs support, and from the government side in a big way. थोड़ा सा वो support काफी time से थोड़ा सा withdrawn सा लग रहा है. So my only request would be that government consider real estate industry as nation builder, and keep supporting us, keep giving us some kind of support in one way or other, in terms of policies, in terms of subsidy, in terms of tax provisions. 2 lakh to 5 lakh is a big step. If we can, that can be done, it is going to give a lot of positive vibes in the industry, and in turn, as an industry, we definitely assure government that we'll keep supporting the government in their all the schemes, all the instruments, whatever they come up with, will always be there with the government for building the nation.
Thank you. Mr. Manish Arora, sir.
Yes. My recommendation is that while this RERA and all the bodies are there, but and rating agencies are also there, and there are so many other stakeholders which are ensuring the governance of this sector, but it is still very loose, and end consumer is always on the receiving end. If you have to buy one home, if you have to buy all this, the quality of the home, the the delivery time committed, and the quality of all the amenities which are committed, and all other the sales agreement and all other things which are one-sided right now, they should not be kept like that. Like any other good you buy, you have a lot of right. When you buy house, you are devoid of any right. You are always filling voids actually. So make it easy to buy, make it easy to maintain, make it easy to carry this asset like gold, as madam mentioned. If it is easy to carry this asset in the life journey, I think it will be a great boost to the industry.
Thank you, Mr. Arora, and thank
Yeah,
you to
Gupta
all
ji,
my
one thing,
excellent speakers.
Gupta ji, one thing I want to add.
Please, please.
Government should come with the amendment in the insolvency bankruptcy code 2016 for real estate. The present IBC code doesn't support to the real estate projects which were stalled since last more than 10-15 years. Because of that IBC was created focusing only on the financial institutions, FIs, not the home buyers. So I was in one of the committee of the government of India, and I have suggested that this should be some major amendment needs to come in the insolvency bankruptcy code 2016 for real estate. Separate provision should be there, and home buyers should be given the priority over the financial institutions. Presently, in the water flow mechanism, first priority is the financial institutions, then home buyers. And I have given the suggestions because many projects is the stalled nearby in the Delhi NCR or Mumbai. And if this code is on not a single project is passed in the insolvency bankruptcy code because of this many technicalities. So this is also a suggestion. So with this forum, we can give a suggestion to the government. The IBC code needs to be amended, and exclusively that comes for the real estate projects. Because since last 7 years, not a single project is approved in through IBC.
One of the best suggestions. One of the best suggestions.
This is right of the buyer is also there, na? Because they have taken a housing loan, they have taken other thing, they are paying installment, and they have given to the builder, and builder is not giving them the. So how the right can be first to a financial institutions? That it should be
Exactly.
pari
Exactly.
passu, na? It should be pari passu charge. It should be
So, मैं
because they are also a secured lender, na, sir. Home buyer
secured, बिल्कुल they are secured.
money, na.
They are more secured lenders.
They are more skilled lender. What is your suggestion for that? There should be a first charge by the buyer instead of an institution. What you're suggesting?
Yeah. My suggestion is first charge should be for buyer, home buyer. And another thing.
Then problem will be the banker. Banker will not find it.
नहीं बैंकर की इसलिए प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी जो मैंने सजेशन दिया कि बैंक देखो होम बायर्स तो स्केटर्ड है बैंकर्स के पास तो पूरी टीम है तो व्हेन बैंकर हैज गिवन ए लोन टू ए एक्स डेवलपर so he is having his full manpower or full resources to assess whether this project will be viable or not viable.
There should be a escrow account. They should monitor properly for that.
Because of the non-monitoring by the banker, home buyers फंस गया. So then why again?
Okay, thank you, sir. There is one question from Mr. Shant. Affordable housing is need of the day. What the third house is the same. How can be explained? Anybody can reply on this, Pansal ji?
Question समझ में नहीं आया मुझे. Affordable housing is the need of day, which is correct.
Yes.
But how it is linked to third home?
Third home is the same.
नहीं, third home ऐसा नहीं है sir. Third home is not a third. I say first home is need. Second home is I'll say is requirement of the household. Third house is greed. So too much of house is
investment. It is investment.
Second is investment. Third is greed. अब एक आदमी को 3 घर क्यों चाहिए? मुझे तो मतलब
it's बुढ़ापे का सहारा. Okay.
So see, honestly, affordable housing is the need of our, and because see, we have to. India is one country with population of I'll say 90% of people live below a certain line, and everybody need house, and not everybody has house. So that is the reason that real estate has a lot of scope in India, because you can still have a lot of people who need house, or who actually there's a requirement of house for them. Affordable housing will bring those people in a ownership category where they can own a house, and a lot of states has come up with a policy which is not very friendly for neither for I'll say investors, for the customers, nor for the builders. So you have to make some policies in such a way where builders are incentivized to bring in those houses and customer can afford it. You have to make, and like Mr. Arora said very correctly, that we have to have regulations in such a way where these houses are built on time with the same quality what has been expected or promised. So if we can ensure that through regulation policy, then I think the government should have a proper I'll say system in place for builders also, for customers also, and for themselves also.
Very
If they
nice.
can support us
Well,
or
the
support
third
industry,
house
I'm
is
sure
for
affordable housing.
investment. As madam says, third house is for investment only.
I agree with madam. Third house is what I'm
Then
sure
another question is Harsh Agarwal. Anybody can reply on this? Harsh
what is
Agarwal.
that, sir? What is I
Maybe
can't
the
see.
ease of the funding process in the real estate sector to cut down the construction cost for the developer, so that the costs are not passed on to the buyer.
Absolutely, this is what I said in my initial statement. When you
Right.
put in a question to me, if
Right.
have a reasonable or fund availability to developers, the cost. See, every project has a certain profit expectancy, or every business have a profit expectancy. If you have a cheaper fund available, it is all your books are open for scrutiny by all the authorities. So if you can have a proper or cheaper fund coming to developers, the houses will definitely come cheaper, because ultimately it is a byproduct of your whatever cost is coming. Same goes for GST, same goes for finances. If we can have those costs reduced, it is definitely going to pass on to customers.
Very nice. At the end, I am thankful to my eminent speakers, my participants, and for giving their valuable guidance and their remarks also, and how the government should think to give a incentivize the real estate, and other facility can be extended. For GST also we discussed in details. So I'm thankful to all of you. And I am just telling you because the Association for Financial Advisor we have constituted, and we are having more than 400 members. The main object of the association is to impart knowledge to our financial people. So I request from this platform that you should become a member of our association, so that it give us a strength to get it recognized from the IBA or from the ministry, so that all ethics can be followed by our financial advisors. We are also at Research in India. We are a merchant banker. We are investment banker. We are providing bank training to the banker. We are holding so many webinars. We are also in insolvency, and we are also preparing a DPR. Beside that, we are conducting a technical economical viability study for that. So any person required for any technical viability study or DPR or any loan syndication of loan, we are also doing it above 50 crore rupees. If anybody is interested for that, they can approach the Research in India. So I'm also thankful to my team who is off the screen, Mr. Rohan Mankotia and Mr. Rajan, Mr. Lokesh, who is not seen in the screen. Still, they are the main person who is helping me to hold such webinars. I'm also thankful to Mr. Chaudhary, who is giving suggestion what type of webinar should be there, and giving up the write-up also. It is a research project. He is also doing it, so that the webinar can be more fruitful. I'm thankful to him. In the end, I'm thankful to Dr. Raghuvanshi Madam, to Shri Atul Bansal sir, to Manish Arora sir, and Dr. Vijay Kumar Chaudhary sir for excellent interaction. I think there will be great feedback from our listener also. And I requesting my members, my listeners, that they should send our feedback and also suggest the topic. We should do it in next week. So we have also identified a startup which we are going to head on 9th of this month, of the 9th of the February. We are doing it. So with this, I am ending the session. With thanks to all my participants, again all to eminent speakers. Thank you very much, sir.
I propose vote of thanks for you, sir. Thank you for moderating it so well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. K.
Yes,
Gupta.
I'm
thank you
really-
so much, sir.
I'm,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.